You all would have loved it. He talked about abolishing the tax code, doing away with the IRS, all these different things. And the crowd, 500 people just cheering, yeah, it was thunderous applause. I stuck my hands in my pocket. Patrick Valentine, who's the Republican candidate for governor last time around in North Carolina, was sitting at my table, and he goes, Matt, you don't want to stop tax reform? I said, yeah, I would have loved to. You know, and it's interesting that the stump speech comes back now that the Republicans are in the minority. When they were in the majority for the last several years, how much of that did they get done? Cricket. Republicans are really good at adopting libertarian ideals when they're in the minority because the people connect with it. Then when they get in power, well, then you have the scandals that we've seen in Washington, D.C. You see the expansion of government. You see the expansion of civil rights violations. You see all the different things that we've seen over the last several years. That was with a Republican-controlled government, every branch. The Republicans have a credibility problem. They really do. Representative Walter Jones got up and made his stump speech about supporting the troops. Now, most people here, that SOB's from my district. He talked about supporting the troops, and while he acknowledged that there were a number of people at the Conservative Leadership Conference that disagree with his stand on the war, he wanted to focus on supporting the troops and making sure that they get the care they need. As a veteran, I looked at that, and I see my fellow compatriots in arms and the treatment they've been getting at Walter Reed and other VA hospitals. The funding and the accountability of that was under the Republicans' watch. They have a credibility problem. Another prominent member of the GOP got up and talked about abolishing the Department of Education. I've got to tell you, I'll share a little bit of my background here. I've served as a charter school board member and chairman and president of a charter school in Buncombe County. I'm all about school choice. I've also been a homeschooler. I hear this prominent GOP member get up there and start talking about abolishing the Department of Education, and then I look at the No Child Left Behind Act. It's the greatest expansion of federal education bureaucracy in the history of the country. Again, they have a credibility issue. So I think when we talk about the coalition, the Liberty Coalition, what I go back to and what strikes me is that hunger I saw in the eyes of the people that were at this Conservative Leadership Conference. They were wandering in the desert, lost. They were looking for anybody to come up and say, we're going to follow through. We're going to do this. Why did we lose? Why did we do? They were lost. But the grassroots level people that call themselves conservatives and trust in, a party, they don't know where to turn. I think you guys can give them the place to turn. And it may not be to say, well, become libertarians. Form coalitions around ideas. You've got people that connect. Why do they connect? I pointed out in one of my speeches at the conference, I pointed out to folks that the largest voting bloc in America is the non-voter. It is. Imagine what would happen if that non-voting bloc realized they were the largest voting bloc and felt empowered to get behind something different. This country would change, wouldn't it? Benchmark. So then the discussion becomes, well, why aren't they voting? Well, because American Idol, CJ, it's all a crapshoot. No, that's not why they're not voting. I believe most people don't vote because they're apathetic. Because of the frustration of thinking it's all the same, it's all corrupt, same old, all the time. Because the Democrats and Republicans have gotten so good at making it sound like they're different and fighting with each other all the time and tearing down every institution of government that nobody thinks there's anything there. Now, I was speaking at, I think it was, I forget which university it was, but I like to do this thing sometimes when I'm with college students. And, we're in a big theater, big full theater type thing, auditorium, and you had the 2 rows going up to the back of the building with the exits back there. And I said, okay, we're going to have a little fun here. Let's loosen up a little bit. I said, okay, you come over here. You stand here. You represent the right wing. All right, yeah, you come over here. You're going to stand this aisle. You represent the left wing. And you come over here. You're everybody else in America. All right? And what we're going to do is we're going to have a race to the exit, all 3 of them. And then this person says, well, wait a minute. They have a head start. I'm going to have a race to the exit. Everybody's all excited. College kids, oh, we're going to see somebody fall down and break their nose. And I said, you ready? Get set. And I reached over and I grabbed the back of the shirt of the person up here. I said, come. And everybody's looking at these two college students are running toward the back of the auditorium, all the way through all the rows. Everybody's watching. And I'm just holding on to this person right here. And they get up to that one got there like 2 steps before the other. And everybody's laughing. They're like, oh, the left winger won. University. I said, would you step to the emergency exit right here, please? The person next to me. They took about 6 steps, and they were standing at another exit. I said, you all were so focused on the 2 exits that you're used to going to, you didn't realize there was one right here next to you. They just went 5 times as far to the same ending point. One got there a little bit quicker than the other, but they were both going the same direction. None of you realized there was another option right here next to you that everybody could see without having to turn around. Well, I'll tell you, there was a blank stare from about 85% of the audience. I could tell that light bulb went off. I said, okay, I now know I won't be invited back to this university that you just thought for yourself. And I wasn't. I've been invited a lot of places once. But again, the opportunity for a Liberty Coalition is really where I believe the impact can be. Whether people call themselves conservatives, libertarians, independents, even progressives, there's a lot we can do to build some momentum to get self-government back in the hands of the people. Take any questions? Comments?
I just want to let you know that when we posed Gary Bartlett, Director of Big Board Elections last week for our lawsuit, he did admit that there were no non-Democrats, non-Republicans on any county boards of elections that he'd ever known of. Although he did point out that many of the directors of county boards are unaffiliated such.
Well, anybody can put a U on their registration. In one of the western counties here, the unaffiliated head of one of the Board of Elections shares a cabin, sneak-away place with a Democratic leader in the county.
Well, you see, that's what
They're not in a significant leadership. They're not in a significant documented relationship. But, you know, yeah, anybody can put a U on their registration card. But,
explain your relationship with your employer.
my relationship with my current employer?
Yeah.
I show up, I do what I want to do, and they cut me a check every 2 weeks. I actually have to tell you,
your ratings are good. He's not.
I've got to tell you, actually, I walked into, you heard some of the background, broadcasting out of a shack, and, you know, handing my guests a couple of penicillin pills when they left every time. You know, and when I got the offer to work for WWNC, which is owned by Clear Channel, pretty big company, I thought, well, and plus the guy I was replacing was hard